Well, what do you say after a game like that? The Pittsburgh Penguins lose 7-1 to the Dallas Stars. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now and the National Hockey Now YouTube channel. I know what to say, actually. This is part 2 of a column I wrote back on December 16th, 2023, after the Penguins were absolutely spanked and before a national TV audience, Hockey Night in Canada, by the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-0. This game had a lot of the same earmarks, just as a lot of the games prior to that and since then have had. No other team in the league fails to show up more often than the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the question is why? There's really no post-game analysis to do. You get spanked 7-1 and are never in the game. You can go X's and O's. The reality was rookie goaltender Yoel Blomqvist, he gave up a couple of real softies. Okay, the Penguins are down 2-0. Soft goals are in fact deflating. But how many teams have the Penguins had down 2-0 only to give up that lead? 4. 4 in the first 14 games, in fact. So it's not like 2-0 is insurmountable even against a team as good as the Dallas Stars, which had lost 3 of 4 coming into the game. No, the larger issue, which has dogged the Penguins for the last couple of years, is heart. That desire, that motivation. There are possible reasons. The reality of the bigger situation is this is why Kyle Dubas, the general manager, president of hockey operations, makes millions and millions of dollars a year. It's his job to figure this out and put it in context of the bigger picture. We'll take him at face value that the players in the locker room deserve to be competitive. This team, unfortunately, after 9 losses, actually, if you count the couple of overtime or the shootout losses, actually have 11 losses in 17 games. That's not competitive. Sidney Crosby talked about the couple of good things they did on the road trip. They were 1-1-1. They should have been 2-1. But there again, another kind of no-show loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. It really does come down to heart and motivation. I lean to this, and this is entirely open, I think, to opinion. You can talk about firing Mike Sullivan all you want, but I'm going to stay in the realm of reality here, because no coach who's going to come in is going to improve this group. Also, there are financial and contractual obligations that prevent the big fire sale that I know a lot of you emotionally want to see. After a game like this, you want to burn the house down and start all over. There was some national media. Ryan Whitney, I think, tweeted something very similar. When do the big changes come? The reality, I don't know that they can come. And this is my 2 cents on the topic. The team is relying on 37 and 38-year-olds, not just to be their best players, but also to provide that heart, that emotional engagement every single night, every single shift. And that's just a bridge too far. You shouldn't actually have to rely on Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang and Sidney Crosby every single game to do everything. But that's where this team is. There are some structural problems. Erik Karlsson still seems to be a lost soul in the Penguins universe. Chris Letang this season is kind of AWOL, actually. This might, after as good as he was for the first 4 or 5 months last year, that last month where he was just banged up and not playing well has sort of carried over into this season. And so the Penguins' defense is kind of hodgepodge patchwork. The forwards crew not providing enough if Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin don't do it. These are all problems But again, the underlying problem is that motivation. If you saw Crosby and Malkin have an off night, but 16 other skaters pick them up, this stuff doesn't happen. There's not 16 other skaters picking them up. There's nobody stirring the pot when they go down 2-0. There's no one throwing mitts and throwing punches or trying to throw a big hit or doing something to change the momentum. There's no one making that extra play to lift the bench. There's no yeast in the bread. Just as I wrote back on December 16th, 2023, this is like The Godfather Part 2. Something remains horribly wrong with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's why the score was 7-1 on Monday night. I suppose anymore, I'm belaboring the point. I know what you all want to say and what you want to hear from me. I just can't give you that burn it down soliloquy. I can't do it because there are those contractual and financial factors that have locked this team in. There are changes that could be made if winning were the primary goal. But it's not, is it? And we'll stop there. From PPG Paints Arena, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now, the National Hockey Now channel. Like and subscribe.